Discovery, go at throttle up. 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 Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? All right. Just so you know, I'm present. Hello, Jay. Barge or RTLS? Barge TLS. I don't know. Let me check. You graduated yesterday? Oh, congratulations, Shortline. This is a okay, it's a LZ1 or LZ4 landing. Very nice, very nice. Guys, I'm still waking up. Good morning, I'm good. I've been up 16 hours already. Okay. That's a strange schedule. Wake up! No, stop yelling. Stop. Dude, lower your voice. Jesus, it's too early for this. It's too early. It's too early. Come on. Looks like it's going to be a clear launch. Vandenfog. Have I seen your video yet? No. I have the I have it on here. Here, I'll give me 1 second. While we're waiting for SpaceX to go. Let's see. It wants me to download it. I will do that another time. It looks good though, Doom. I saw the thumbnail picture. Looks good, buddy. Currently driving to the airport and stuck in traffic. Luckily, my plane is delayed like 2 hours too. Oh, okay. Question to wake up to: why did Delta 2 use airlit solids?
Discovery, go at throttle
It
up.
keeps the TWR higher. Those solids pack a big punch, so having 3 start with the center engine and then jettisoning 3 and starting 3 more, you can keep the TWR higher. You get better first stage performance that way. You can do that in Kerbal, actually. You could do it and work just fine. Hey, Isaac, 11-month resub. So, we're live a little bit early for the SARah-1 mission here for SpaceX. They're launching out of Vandenberg. This is the second launch in 24 hours for them. Why does this remind me of a toothpaste ad? What is this? Delta 3. Huh. Huh. Delta 3. Delta 3. Delta 4, though. Very nice. Very nice. Hey, Udvol. After all, we already know they work. Delta 3? Yeah, sure. Delta 3 works. Delta 4 wide. Delta 4, though. Now we're talking. That, I will still say it's a good design to this day. Fantastic design. All right. Delta 3 Master Wraith? No. No. Delta 4 Medium just looks right to you. I think Heavy. Heavy is a very aesthetic. The Delta 4 Heavy is a very aesthetic rocket. That looks very nice. Very nice. That is, dude, look at that. There's only 3 Delta Heavies left. Yeah, I know. That thing is aesthetic as hell. That looks right. That looks like, you know, people think like, oh, what does a rocket look like? That's a rocket right there, man. And for what it's worth, I think how Delta goes together, how the integration works, is one of the smartest ways to integrate a rocket. It's really damn smart. I think Falcon only has it bested, but not by much. Hey, see, I'll say this too. Ariane 5 looks good, and so does Soyuz. Those look right. Those rockets. All 3 of those look very, 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 very nice. But Delta 4 Heavy, though, that's a nice rocket. I mean, look at it. Remember what they took from us. What is this? Oh, that could have been a thing? Damn it! Well, that sucks. Oh, Satana. Oh, Satana. That's pretty cool. It needs a... This design needs a... You don't want a DCSS medium, though. This looks funky with the DCSS medium. It needs to be 5 meter all the way to the top. Those boosters kind of look like an afterthought. Yeah. Yeah, we're still waiting on SpaceX. They're a little bit behind. The Superior CSM. What is this? What the frick? Huh. Ah, here we go. Fast forward. No. Been waiting for this launch forever. SAR stands for Synthetic Aperture Radar, and it's a launch for the German Bundeswehr. It's similar to the American lacrosse system. Cool. Can we have shuttle at home? Can we have a shuttle? No, we have shuttle at home. Shuttle at home. Can I guess you will cut the stream after SpaceX stop after the booster landing? No, we were gonna keep going. I got my coffee, dude. I was gonna play Minecraft, Spoon. Hello, Jason. What you doing, mate? Hey, WD-40. We have the Kofifi out. Do you know the Kofifi? No need for the extra rapid eye movement. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not sleep very well, but I'll be alright, guys. Rocket launches. Wait for no man.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Oh.
Stage separation confirmed. Dragon, separation confirmed.
You seen the launch in person, Funky Flex? Nice.
Stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed.
Good morning. You're looking at Falcon 9 behind all
AT.
the fog, standing ready for liftoff from Vandenberg Space Force Base's Space Launch Complex 4 East at 7:19 a.m. Pacific.
It is
Hello and
Vandenfog.
welcome to the webcast for SARah-1 on behalf of our customer Airbus. My name is Andy Tran, and I'm a quality engineer here at SpaceX.
Be alright if we
SARah-1
make the
mission
fog.
marks SpaceX's 25th launch of the year, and for those of you following along, you know that we launched our latest Starlink mission from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida about 24 hours ago. And following this morning's launch,
25
we are expecting
launches
to launch
already.
a third rocket later tonight from Pad 40 at Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Now, at the request of our customer for the current mission, we won't show any second stage views, and we'll be ending our coverage early with the first stage landing about 8 minutes
There you go,
into the
Run.
mission.
Nice.
Now, before we get any further, let's take a moment to learn more about our launch vehicle. Falcon 9 is our two-stage rocket. It stands about 70 meters tall, roughly
Right.
the height of a 20-story building. The bottom two-thirds of the vehicle is the first stage and the primary part of the rocket that gets reused again and
Can you
again.
see anything?
Today will be the third flight for this particular booster. And at the bottom of the first stage, there are 9 Merlin engines that will get Falcon 9 off the ground and up to the thinner parts of Earth's atmosphere. The two stages will then separate from one another.
Stealth.
The second stage continues to orbit while the first stage makes its way back down to Earth for its landing attempt back on land. So what you're seeing on screen is landing zone 4, which is pretty close to the pad that it's going to be lifting off from.
Pad's
If
right over
successful,
here.
today's launch will mark the 125th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including
next,
both
it'll be
Falcon
fine.
9 and Falcon Heavy boosters. As for the second stage, it will ignite its single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine about
agree,
2.5
WD.
minutes into flight. It's this engine that will take the SARah-1 spacecraft to its intended orbit.
So, the marine layer out at Vandenberg, guys, that's what this is called. It's a bunch of fog every morning that rolls off the ocean and rolls onto land. Because the ocean is like, I don't know, 1,000 feet that way. And out in California, I'm not actually sure what the atmospheric condition that causes the marine layer to happen. Like, I'm not sure what it does. But when the sun comes up every morning, it gets insanely foggy, and then it goes away. It goes away by, I don't know, by the time the sun, like, when the sun gets higher, it'll just basically evaporate all the steam. The water's cold? Yeah, there you go. And, nice, eh? Yeah, there you go. Here, I'm gonna unmute them. And basically, the marine layer is there pretty much through the night into the morning, and then it goes away pretty much by noontime. This music's a vibe. This kind of electronic piano music. That's pretty cool. Dude, this music goes hard. My boat. So what you want? So what you want? So what you want? What you want? What you want? So what you want? What you want? So what you want? Frick you, Baltimore! Yeah, you saw it too, huh? Whoa, hey. Cool. Man, this thing traveled a long way. Let off some steam, Bennett. Anybody know why that Tahoe up in the front has those two big antennas on the top? Nice. That is a nice truck. The Tahoe has some feelers up in the front to make sure that you don't hit anything that's too low, like a bridge like that. You gotta be careful. You do not want that thing to hit anything. It's a little expensive. Is it heavy? Then it's probably expensive. Put it back. Dude, this thing went all the way across the country. Look at that. Oh, that's cool. Yo, I've driven there. Hey, another oversized load. It's carrying a double wide. Dude, that's yeah, that's 40. That's I-40, dude. That's the road we drove on Route 154. That's cool, man. I mean, they're going in the wrong direction, but yeah, Arizona. Hell yeah. Cali, baby. And then you gotta drive up, he's gotta drive up the 101 to get to Vandenberg. Oh, did it break? Golly, I'm pretty sure they can ground the rocket out just fine. Oh, I know where this road is too. That's going into the Lompoc Valley. Yeah. Dude, I drove on a lot of those roads. That's cool.
And after that long journey, the SARah-1 satellite is now safely integrated at the top of Falcon
Dude,
9.
they should show that all the time, man. That thing came a long way. That's cool.
Erector, or TE, which is the truss structure next to Falcon 9.
And that music was a banger.
For TE retraction, the TE clamp arms right beneath the fairing payload.
It'll be all right if we reach the fog,
payload
Chad.
fairings start to open up. Now we do have a bit of fog in Vandenberg, which is pretty typical for Vandenberg at this time in the morning. So I don't think we're going to be able to see the clamp arms opening, but they are opening right now. And after those are fully open, that structure next to Falcon 9 will recline away from the vehicle in preparation for liftoff. The transport director also routes the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry umbilicals from the ground systems to the rocket and satellites until Falcon 9 goes internal on power and clears the pad. It's also
Germany,
blows the vehicle
Oscar.
out to the pad and lifts it to that vertical launch position that you see on screen. So if you look closely, you can see that we are indeed reclining away from Falcon 9 right now.
Okay, strong back is an old style strong back. It's going to move backwards instead of doing the whew.
So we're just over T-minus 3 minutes and counting. All systems so far
Cheaper,
are go
Mew.
for an on-time liftoff. The range is green. The weather, despite the fog that you see on screen, is also green. And the vehicle and payload continue to be healthy.
Cargo bleed verification.
If for some reason we are not able to launch today, we do have a backup window on Monday at the same time. And as the clock continues to tick down, it is also worth noting
It's
once again that
a,
at the request of our customer,
it's a
we'll be
defense
ending the
satellite for
webcast
Germany.
after the first stage landing attempt about 8 minutes into the mission.
This satellite was built in Friedrichshafen. You know what's built there as well? Blimps. Ah, yes. Dirigibles, yeah. Very good. Wunderbar. Yeah, there's a rocket in there somewhere.
You can see that.
Don't
there are
worry.
some
You'll see it
clouds
when the engines
starting
turn
to form
on.
around Falcon 9. That is normal and expected for us at this stage in the countdown.
Yeah, so when the sun gets high enough, it'll evaporate off all these clouds and it
Today's launch
clears
is the
up.
second of our triple header. We do have
Discovery,
another
go
launch
throttle up.
about 14
Need
hours
hand?
from now.
What's up, buddy?
But this
You
time,
like
that
German
one's
speaking,
gonna be
EJ?
on the
I don't
East
know
Coast
that much
out
German,
of Florida.
man.
Stage 2 locks look complete.
Okay, stand by for gas
So
closeout.
with the call that
Watch, should be a
stage
big puff of
2
smoke right
liquid
here.
oxygen loading has been completed.
Amongst
That
all the
is
other
all of the propellant that is needed for today's mission that is now loaded onto
There it is.
Falcon 9. So we are pretty much ready to go for liftoff about 90 seconds from now.
Amongst the other fog. The rocket is vape. We get it, Talik. Falcon 9 vapes.
Falcon 9's in startup.
It also vapes.
Now
In
that we're
startup.
in startup, both stages are now beginning to pressurize for liftoff.
If you're walking around a facility and you hear that hiss, you better run. I'd be put.
LD is go for launch.
At the very least, I'd be putting in earplugs.
And that is the final go
It's
for
gonna
launch.
get loud.
We're just under 40 seconds away. Let's listen in to terminal count.
The satellite will be able to see a rocket launch through the fog. Yeah. Synthetic
T-minus 30
aperture.
seconds.
Yep. All right. Here we go. It's not smoking, W. It's vaping. Did you know that vaping could deliver toxic metals like nipples and lead into your lungs?
T-minus 15 seconds.
That's nipples in your lungs.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
All right. Here we go.
10.
10.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Sound suppressor is
2.
on.
1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Looks good from what I could see. I think.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
So watch. The marine layer is actually really low. It's gonna go up about, I don't know, 1,000 feet. Now you're out of the cloud layer, and then it's gonna be a nice, beautiful day up here. See? Isn't that weird? Some of these cameras are on hills that are higher than the fog, so you get a nice, good image. Cyclone, 65 Monta.
Discovery.
Jared?
Throttle up.
There's a roll program. See, it's a nice, beautiful day.
We are just over T plus 40
Discovery,
seconds
go at
into
throttle.
flight, and we saw
Power
Falcon
and
9
telemetry nominal.
pierce the cloud layer,
Power
and it is
telemetry
up,
nominal.
heading into space. Right now, the Merlin engines are throttling down for
Smart.
a period known as
Jared.
max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of stresses.
Yeah, all those clouds will evaporate off by the end of the day.
Supersonic. Max Q.
Maximum dynamic pressure.
All right, with max Q behind us, we're throttling the engines back up to full power. We have 5 events coming up in quick
Yeah,
succession.
see? Some of the
First up
hills
is going to be MECO, which stands for main engine cutoff.
are above the
At
marine
that
layer.
point, the 9 engines
Isn't that
on
weird?
the bottom of the first stage will shut off in preparation for the next event, which is SES-1, or second engine start 1. or excuse me, the next event is stage
So,
separation, where the two
there's
stages will
Pacific
separate
Coast
from one
Highway.
another.
AVAC's chilling.
The first stage
MVAC
will
is
flip to
chilling,
make its
bro.
way back to our landing
See,
zone,
Pacific Coast
and
Highway
then
goes right
we'll,
there, and then it goes up there.
Start
into
with
the mountains.
SES-1, which
Driven
is
right there,
second
dude.
engine start 1, where that single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will
Grid fins
ignite
look different.
and
It's just
continue
the
to carry
sunlight.
our SARah-1 satellite into orbit. For today's landing, the first
Right,
stage
Jason?
will,
It's cool.
after it performs its flip, will perform a boost back burn. And then after the boost back burn begins, we'll have fairing deploy.
Yeah, Pacific Coast Highway goes right up, right on the seaside. It's amazing. Okay, stand by for Miko. We're looking up the business end of the second stage. This is a different camera than usual. Watch.
Miko, stage separation confirmed.
Whoop! See ya. Lit.
Stage 1 boost back burn is starting.
Okay, she's firing.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Dude, it looked like the second stage didn't turn on there for a
Awesome.
second.
So we saw main engine cut off, and we saw the two stages separate from one another. We did get audio
That's right, Dead Crew.
confirmation of the second engine start on the second stage Merlin vacuum engine. That's pretty much.
Forge, how do you say it's a German spy satellite in German? It's Deutsch Spionsatellitschaften.
It's boost back burn.
I don't know.
It pretty much flipped and is
Jägersat.
heading back where it came from. It's going to be attempting its third
And
landing.
stage 1 boost back.
Okay.
In a few
Good
minutes.
boost back.
So that boost burn did
Ist
wrap up.
ein deutscher Spionsatellit. Ah,
In order to complete
danke.
today's landing for the first stage, it has 2 more burns left. Next up is the entry burn. where 3 of the
satellite.
Merlin engines
Satellite.
ignite, and this will help to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper
Spy
parts of the
spionage
atmosphere.
spionage satellite. I like that. That's good.
After
Your
that,
German is 5 out of 7.
landing
Wait, what?
burn.
Why is a German spy satellite being
Occurs
launched
15
on a U.S.
seconds
rocket?
before we
Why is because they paid. They paid SpaceX to. Actually, more than a lot of European companies in a lot of European countries started buying SpaceX rockets to launch their stuff because it's cheaper, and the ESA got, and Kinez, the European rocket guys, got a little pissed off. Actually, no joke, they got a little mad.
We're seeing some periodic bursts of gas. at the
That's
center
true.
of the
That actually
screen.
happened.
That is nitrogen coming from our attitude control systems that helps to orient the vehicle.
But would a U.S. spy satellite launch on
This is a view
Ariane?
from inside the interstage.
No.
And
Not
this
necessarily.
view is from the top of the first stage.
All right, she's
looking
landing
down.
right about here.
You can
right?
see 2 of our 4
There's the
hypersonic
marine
grid
layer.
fins there.
So,
As we get closer-
if you look right here, these are mountains up here, and then there's a mountain range right here, and then Vandenberg is basically right here. It's literally where all those clouds are. That's a low point. That's the Lompoc Valley. I don't even know if that's what they call it. Vin, is that what they call it? Is the Lompoc Valley? There's a huge valley right here, and there's tons of farmland, tons of very fertile farmland because it's an estuary. There's a river that goes out here, so it's lowlands right here. So all the marine layer gathers in that valley. But once again, this will all be burnt off by the end of the day. 2
Vehicle
years,
trajectory
Lompoc.
nominal.
I'll die before I go. There is a prison there,
Bottom
Max.
left-hand side of the screen
Yeah,
is a
there is a
velocity
prison.
gauge
We
of
drove
the first
past it.
stage. It's traveling about 3,500
It's true.
kilometers an hour now, but once we begin the boost back burn, you'll start to see that number decrease. And then after the boost back burn, or excuse me, not after the boost back burn ends, after the entry burn ends, you'll continue to see the speed decrease as we hit the denser parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, pretty much, Forge. Yeah. It's called Club Fed. There you go, Jono. Thanks, man. All right.
Stage 1 entry burn is starting.
Supersonic retro propulsion, baby.
There's the entry burn. So 3 of the 9 engines on the first stage have relit. As you can see, we are indeed slowing down the first stage.
2 years, Lompoc. I'll die before I go back. Okay, Gridfin's going to steer us in. This is going to look pretty crazy right up until it gets it really foggy. So, guys, I'm not even sure that Falcon 9 is short enough to be able to get under the marine layer. I'm pretty sure you're just going to see some grid fins stop moving, and they're going to say landing burn is complete.
Saved.
Okay, flight termination system is safe on the booster. Watch, this is going to get pretty righteous pretty fast. It's going to punch a hole in it from the landing burn. I hope so.
Transonic.
Okay.
Going back through the cloud layer.
Yeah, this is going to be really neat. Oh, here we go.
Stage 1 landing burn has started.
See, these cameras over here are on the hills that are above the marine layer.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Something's shaking around down there. Could just be the camera.
Terminal guidance.
Welcome back, Falcon 9. That is
Landing
successful landing for this booster. It also marks our 125th overall successful recovery of an orbital
That's
rocket,
nice.
including both
That's
Falcon 9
pretty
and
good.
Falcon Heavy first stages. With that, at the request of our customer, we are going to bring our webcast to it.
That's
Airbus for
freaking
entrusting us
cool,
with today's
man.
mission. It's
That's
been an exciting
that's
24
freaking
hours with this
cool.
doubleheader Starlink followed by SARah-1. If you're looking for some added entertainment this evening, be sure to tune in for our third launch.
Marine layer is actually
48
clearing out.
hours Launch of Globalstar's FM-15 from Florida at 12:27 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, 14 hours till another launch. Und damit ist der erste Raketenstufe weiter gelandet. I don't know what you're saying. Marathoning until the rocket launch? That's the plan. Are they launching every day? They're launching 3 in 48 hours, Matt. It's pretty nuts, dude. As of this landing, half of the LZ-4 returns have been this exact booster. That's weird, man. Did you start working on the new Spire Coast? A little bit, yeah. We made train tracks go out there, Johnny. But I've been working on the island area. You wanted launch cadence? Yeah, no. I'm going to keep doing this until it's boring. And spoiler alert, for me, it's never going to be boring. Why so many launches? So, why so many launches, Smith? Dude, another good question, actually. That's good questions, man. I appreciate it. You're really making this easy. No, the more good questions people ask, the easier it is to stream for longer. So why are they launching so much? They're launching so much because there's the demand to launch so much. But a lot of that is internal demand. So what does that mean? A lot of that is SpaceX. SpaceX making their own demand for these Starlink satellites. Like 90% of SpaceX launches this year have been Starlink. A good majority of them. Now, Biceped, so I know what the next question coming is. So, like, wait, is SpaceX making any money off these Starlink satellites? Well, that remains to be seen, but I mean, I think the market cap for Starlink is like $80 billion or something. So what does that mean in plain English? Like, the company could make that much profit. That's what that means. They could see, like, they're projected to make that much cash. That well justifies pretty much the entire development cost of Falcon 9. So SpaceX is making their own demand via internet satellite constellation. That's why they're launching so much this year. And guess what, dude? You know how crazy it is? Because of events in Eastern Europe, SpaceX even got the contract to launch their competition internet satellite constellation into space. The reason why they're doing it is to make a more sustainable market. They got like a $8 billion contract or something to launch OneWeb satellites into space. OneWeb satellites are their competition. That's Starlink's competition. Yeah. They were launching on Soyuz, which is a Russian rocket. They were launching on Soyuz. Now they're not. Now they're launching on Falcon 9. Yeah, they're even... SpaceX is just cleaning up house. They're just like, yep, just give me all the contracts. I'll just launch it. They're proving that if you launch in mass, right, you're going to make a lot of money. Because if you launch in mass, you can bring the price down. And they're bringing the price down below everybody else. And reusability of your first stage favors that because reusability, your first stage is like 60% of the cost of the entire launch vehicle. Because it's about 60% of the launch vehicle. So first stages are very expensive. Hey, Marcel. 11 months. Time flies, man. Thus the 11 looks like a burnout. Yep, yeah. Okay, all right. I think I get that. Could a Starlink V2 sat fit into a Falcon 9 fairing? No, it could not, ArcSign. They have to, they have to get Starship working. And ArcSign, that's how SpaceX is going to justify Starship's development costs. Remember, Morgan Stanley, I mean, you guys can go look this up. Morgan Stanley rated Starlink's market cap at $80 billion. That is easily enough to fund Starship development and Falcon 9 development and make a frick ton of money. So basically what SpaceX is doing is to make the market more sustainable. They're tying everything together. Falcon 9 is going to launch Starlink satellites until Starship replaces it. But they're making newer, better Starlink satellites that are bigger, that are designed to launch inside of a Starship instead of a Falcon 9. Those Starlink V2 satellites are 7 meters across. They're big. They can't fit in any other payload fairing. There's no other rocket that can carry those things into space. A space shuttle probably could, but it'd have to do it the long way. And you wouldn't be able to carry as much as Starship. But they're basically tying future Starlink development into future Starship development. Let's just put Star in front of everything. Starlink, Starship, Starman, Starbase, Star Truck. Apparently it's only one launch with SpaceX. They also signed 2 with ISRO. No, it's got to be more than that, Phil. It's got to be more. Star-Lord. Nice. Falcon 9s won't be able to maintain Starlink, right? Too many launches or something? They could do it. Sure. WD-40, Falcon 9 is going to be flying until the end of this decade for the most part. And then, believe it or not, they're going to put a cap on it. Because Starship's going to replace it. Star Wars, Stargate, Disney will sue. So, Star Killer Base. Okay, that's Rogue One, though. Star Killer Base is fine, because that movie is legendary. Yeah, that's it. Bicebet, hopefully that makes sense. Why are they launching a lot now? Because they're getting to a point where all this work with Starlinks and all this work with making a more reusable rocket and bringing the cost down via reuse and launching a lot is really paying off. SpaceX is going to have 75 launches by the end of this year. At least that's their internal projections. 75. They're already at 25. And we're still in quarter 2 right now. They're at 25 launches. That is insane. The last Starfighter, oldie but a goodie. Greetings, Starfighter. You've been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Interstellar. It's a great movie. Are you watching qualifying on stream? Not the footage, but your reaction? Yeah, we could, I could put it on. Do you think reuse programs make more jobs? By how much? Well, I think it creates a more sustainable industry, and I know that people like to throw that around a lot. Oh, it's sustainable. It's not sustainable. If you're building expendable rockets, it's one and done, and you don't need to launch very much to make profit with an expendable launch vehicle. That's how ULA stays in business, right? Not anymore, though. They're doing reuse, too, because Jeff Bezos bought 38 freaking launches from them. 38. That is an unprecedented block buy. Starvation. Oh, gosh, jeez. So, hang on, sorry, it's still early. Let me read it. So reuse is going to make more jobs. Yeah, it probably will. It'll make the industry more sustainable. So it's not necessarily more jobs, I wouldn't say, Invoker, but because you don't need to make as many rockets, but you need to maintain more rockets. So I think it overall, it's probably about the same amount of jobs, but those jobs move from just building boosters to maintaining boosters, which is cool. That's really cool. I'm envisioning a future where we have A&Ps working on rockets. Like, just, you have rocket mechanics, just like you have airline mechanics. You just got to maintain the rocket. You got to do a pre-flight check on the rocket before you send it. Stuff like that. That would be really, really freaking cool. Quality streams start when my grad party starts, but I'm going to still watch it. Family can wait. Just put it on TV. Say it's your grad party. I want to watch Formula 1. Watch Formula 1 with me, Shock. 2 birds with 1 stone. Anyway, that was the SARah-1 launch. Everything looked good there. I saw something wiggling on the way down, but apparently it's not that big of a deal. Does Blue Origin focus on more commercial flights? The scope with Blue Origin, Biceped, really is not well understood. Meaning, we don't, like, okay, it's going to sound stupid, but we don't really know what they're doing. General question, what do you think of F1? I like F1. I've been a Formula 1 fan for a very long time, dude. Since 96, 97, somewhere around there. My dad showed it to me at a very young age. My dad's a sports nut. Both my parents are sports nuts. Think, if you ever seen Futurama, think Fry's parents. That's my parents, yeah. Yeah, Shumi was driving for Benetton when I started watching Formula 1, dude. He just moved to Ferrari, like, right when I really got into it, when I was very young. So, Neon, I've been... Dude, it's cool for Americans to like Formula 1 now. I remember when I was in high school, if I mentioned Formula 1 at school, I would get made fun of. Oh, yeah. People would be like, what? Formula 1? What is that, like soccer? I'm like, yeah, okay. Your dad's more into the Tour de France? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I watched David Coulthard move through all the ranks. I worked as a Jaguar mechanic when he was driving for Jag. Nice, Blackbird. There you go. Elon said wings are useless in space, but also rockets should be like airplanes. So when will they start launching tourists into space using airplane fuselages? What's Starship, but basically that. So anyway, Bicep, what's Blue doing? I'm not sure. Blue is very secretive about stuff, and that is not me speculating either. Like, I don't mean to flex, dude, but like, here, take a look. I know Blue. I've talked to people that work there. And I'm not talking like, oh, this person is the janitor that works at Blue Origin. I know their VP of marketing. Yeah, Ariane Cornell is her name. She's very cool. She's on Twitter. You could follow her too. Yeah, she's cool. I've talked to her face to face about rockets and stuff. We had an avenue through there from Twitch, basically. Yeah. Do you know Gary? I've never met Gary. No, I really wish I would, but he wouldn't stop talking. So, the thing about Blue Origin is that, dude. Okay, here they don't advertise. Blue will not show you something unless they have something to show. Now, personally, I think they got something to show off. They have a massive factory down at the Cape. So, see here, this is the Kennedy Space Center business site. KSC BC is what it's called, not VC. The visitor center is up there. KSC business centers are right here. It's this plot of land. And let's just say that Blue Origin bought a lot of it. Blue Origin has 2 monster freaking factories down here. These are gigantic factories. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, how big can it actually be? Look at the cars in the parking lot. That should show you pretty much how big that sucker is. It is a monster of a factory. And then they're building another one down here. This is for their New Glenn rocket. Now, before you say, okay, they built the factory, what about the pad? So, this is Complex 36. It's basically as big as 39A. Blue Origin leased out 3 launch pads. 3 launch pads, 2 launch complexes. So this is Complex 11, which was an Atlas Able launch site. And then there was an Atlas Centaur launch site here, 36A and 36B. This is where the first RD-180 took off from American soil, believe it or not, for the people that are into trivia. Or rocket trivia. Blue bought all this, and they built a multi-billion-dollar pad down here for a rocket. You can see the pad's pretty much ready to go. And they have a HIF right there, a horizontal integration facility that is huge. Once again, look at the trucks. Look at the trucks and the cars and stuff. It is a monster of a facility. Blue has shown the facility off before. Do you have a NASA PC? I don't. No, I don't know what that means, Masters. But the point that I'm trying to get at is that Blue doesn't really show what they're doing until they're ready. So it's really kind of a little bit harder to define what the scope of what they're trying to do is. Their stated goal is to, you know how like SpaceX wants to move people to Mars? You know, it's like, oh, Mars, SpaceX, we need to go to Mars. Our mission is to go to the moon and then to Mars, right? Blue Origin's stated goal is to work on ways for people to live in space. Like, Blue Origin's kind of theory about it is basically, why go to the planets? Why confine yourself to a space on a planet? You could just build a city in space and really not have to worry about anything. Like, you don't have to worry about overpopulation, expansion. You have space. That's why they call it space. There's a lot of it. So they're working on sustainable ways to basically make, like, cities in space. That's their stated goal. And they are working on it. They're working on a project, and we've heard about it. They're working on a project with a couple of other people called the Orbital Reef Space Station. Here, I'll show you a picture, a concept art picture of it here. That's what it's supposed to look like right there. Now, if you're looking at this and saying, okay, it looks like a space station in Kerbal. Well, first of all, yeah, it kind of does. Second of all, this is basically like zoned mixed use space station. Each one of these is kind of a little office building, right? And they're all connected. And then you have ports on the side for custom modules. The idea is that they're literally going to make a zoned mixed use space station, meaning that it could be a commercial hotel over here, you could be a scientific space station here, and then you could be like a pharmaceutical manufacturing space station over here. Once again, they're trying to work on getting people to live in space. Now, if you're wondering, like, you're looking at this, you're like, okay, that's pretty big. But I mean, come on. You see Starliner right there. You see Dream Chaser right there. That's, it's a big space station, but it's not as big as the ISS, right? Well, that station's about half the size of the ISS, if I had to say. These center modules right here are about the size of Skylab, which is, Skylab's not a small space station. Remember how a bit ago I talked about the Clipper program, job posting from Blue? Well, I just found this. Lunar Clipper TPS IPT leader, advanced development programs. Yeah, Bizabed. Hey, Harry Jag, 7-month reset. Thank you. The only way we really figure out what Blue is doing is from their job postings. No joke. We try to go and look at the job postings, like what Thomas is doing. So, Blue. The point is that it doesn't seem like Blue is doing much, Biciped, but they're building to something. They're building to something. So, yeah, I mean, if you just, like I said, look at this old picture of Complex 36 and Launch Complex 11. They've built a gigantic Apollo-sized pad out here. It's freaking huge, dude. That is a monster launch complex. And, funny story, you can basically see it from space This would be roughly the altitude of the ISS. You can literally see that from space. Just like the VAB and 39A and 39B. And the Space Shuttle Landing Facility. You can see it from up here, which is pretty crazy. 270 miles is where the ISS is. About 400 kilometers up. This is not from 85, Spoon. You want to see what it looks like from 85? I'll show you the 1985 picture. Actually, you're not wrong. Damn. Yeah, no, dude, you're not wrong. That's a pretty damn good picture. You know what the crazy part is, Spoon? This is what was commercially available in 1985. Dude, I'll bet you that, like, the Department of Defense can see, like, a grain of sand on a beach, dude. I bet you, like, if you're reading the newspaper on the beach, they could freaking... Who reads a newspaper? If you're reading a newspaper on the beach, they could probably read the newspaper. I wouldn't be surprised. I wonder if SpaceX would contract with the DoD to weaponize space. Weaponized space is against an internationally... I mean, you could weaponize space if you really want to. That would be really stupid. That goes against a huge international peacekeeping treaty that every major player in space has signed. Vice President, it's called the 1967 International or Outer Space Treaty. The 67 Outer Space Treaty prevents militarization of space. Now, why? Why would any country willingly agree to this? Well, there's this thing that happens in space if you're not careful. Okay? Vice President, you ever see the movie Gravity? You know, like they're in the shuttle and then they get showered with a debris field. And what does the debris field do? It hits something and it cascades and it makes a bigger debris field, right? That can cause a cascading effect where the debris cloud just picks up more and more satellites and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until trying to fly into space is literally impossible. That cascading effect is called Kessler's syndrome. Okay? That absolutely can happen. That has literally been proven. When two satellites hit each other, it literally screwed the launch corridors for a really long time. Cosmos 2253, a Russian satellite and an Iridium satellite, a satellite phone satellite, hit each other in the 90s. And yeah, there's still times where you can't launch into space because of the debris cloud. To this day. Stuff in .space doesn't work anymore, Frosty, which really sucks. But so the way I like to describe it, if that didn't make any sense to you, okay, so picture the waterways around Earth, okay? Like the oceans, okay? Now, think about it like this. If Kessler syndrome doesn't make any sense, let's go over here. Now, think about all the history that has happened in this part of the world on the oceans. Think about all the ships that have sank. Even in the last 100 years. All the ships that have sank in this area here. Now, every sunken ship does not sink. It sits there. Once a ship gets sunk, it sits on the surface of the water, and you can't touch it. That's what Kessler syndrome is like. Think about how ridiculous that would be to actually try and navigate around. If all the crap that was left over from like the D-Day invasion, for instance, all the stuff that they sank, all the ships that sank in the English Channel during thousands of years of wars. Think about if every time one of those ships sank, you have to just leave it there. It doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean. It stays on the surface. How much of a pain in the butt would navigating the waterways be? This is already hard to navigate, especially through here, especially into the Baltics. That's really tough. There's a lot of stuff in the way, right? Think about every minefield that was laid during World War II, World War I. All that just stays there and you can't touch it. That's what Kessler syndrome is. The reason why we can't touch it is because it's going 17,000 miles an hour. How are you going to go get it? It's going like 6 times faster than a rifle cartridge, like a bullet. Unless you want to launch a rocket to go and try and harvest all that debris, which people are trying to work on that, it's going to be really difficult to go and get it. So the reason why we don't weaponize space is because everybody that's smart enough to launch something into space knows that if you want to start a war in space, if we want to do Star Wars up there, it's going to create so much debris that eventually no one is going to be able to launch into space. So it's funny because it inadvertently kind of keeps the peace. And it's been keeping the peace for about 50 years. Hey, Casper. Is there any particular reason why the Assetto stream from yesterday isn't available as a VOD? As much as I hate admitting to this, Casper, I had a little bit of an existential crisis on stream last night. I let my mind wander while I was racing, and it wandered to a very dark place, and great. And I sucked. I literally raced the worst I've ever raced. Dude, I was so out of it, I literally couldn't shift the damn car. It was bad. That usually doesn't happen on stream, and I'm not, like, kind of worried. Like, is everything okay, EJ? Like, yeah, so I literally deleted the VOD because I'm, like, ashamed. If I'm gonna be honest, like, it's pretty bad. And sorry for everybody that races last night. I was not doing good. Not doing good. I got a couple irons in the fire, indeed. Yeah, so my mind is just racing all over the dude. Sometimes I don't know, man. Sometimes your boy just doesn't have it, which sucks. But that's very rare. It's very rare that I'm like, I hate everything. I want to go to bed. And I still didn't even sleep well, so screw me, right? Yeah, GV Wolf, I'm all right. I'm all right. I just got a lot on my plate right now. I got a lot on my plate. But don't worry. Your boy will handle it. I got it. I'm all right. See my last, okay? You better? Yeah, Worm, I'm okay. I'm okay, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. I really do. It does mean a lot. I'm not just saying that to change the subject. Yeah, no, I was not doing good. It's kind of embarrassing, like, but even me, like, dude, yeah, still, sometimes it's just, he talked about building a bridge between Northern Ireland and Scotland, but the Irish Sea is where they dumped all the leftover munitions from the Second World War. Whoops. Oh yeah, I hope you're good. Yeah, Max, I apologize. It sucks. I'm not too happy. Not too happy about that. This site is trying to see satellites. Yep, sat map. Cool. Thanks, Alex. Obrigado. Always love your streams. Thanks, Wolf. Yeah, no, I try to bring my A game, dude. I try because, dude, yeah, no, I don't want to be a stick in the mud on stream. That's lame. Nobody wants to see that. It does happen, and at least you have the awareness to handle it maturely. Sometimes people refuse to accept it. Yeah. I know the feeling, been awake since 2 a.m. Dude, yeah, no, sometimes the insomnia hits. We're going to do Belle Isle next week. I shifted the schedule around just so you don't have to wait too long. Thanks, man. I hate being the weak link, Max. It really pisses me off. I really don't like that. I really don't like that. Wait, you mean you're actually human? Yeah, I know. I hate admitting it. I hate that. There's so much crap that you have to deal with this piece of junk up here. Can we just patch it or something? Like, can we just patch it for frick's sake? Thing is, EJ, we have a bad day. Only we know. You have a bad day, 500 people see it. Yeah, it's... Tech, something that I'm not going to do is, like... I don't want to lie to you guys about how I feel about something. Like, if I don't want to play a game, I'll say I don't want to play a game, for instance, right? Like, it's no big deal, really. We all have our bad moments. In fact, it was bad yesterday. It was bad. I let my mind wander. You know, like sometimes when you're racing, like, dude, I was doing qualifying and I was racing good. I was within like 2 seconds of the leaders during qualifying. Like, I was right on pace. Not bad considering we went into Sears Point cold turkey. I was like, yeah, this is great. And then, like, we were doing practice, like, or qualifying, like, something. I don't know. I was driving, and sometimes you let your mind wander when you're driving. And sometimes doing that, sometimes you race better. But honestly, I just started thinking about all the stuff that I have to do. Like, we got to close down this house. I'm going to New Mexico in a couple of days. Like, I go to New Mexico. I've never been to New Mexico. You know, like, I have been to New Mexico. Yeah, I drove through it. You know, like, it's just the anxiety of, like, traveling and stuff. Like, yeah, like, you know, we gotta close on this house. I gotta think about moving. Like, dude, I let my mind go, and it was not good. It was not good. It was not good. It just went to a dark place. I just thought about all the stuff that I need to get done, and it stressed me the frick out because I was focusing on driving. Like, can you imagine? Think about how annoying it would be if you had somebody, like, talking to you. Oop, I kicked the automaton over. Somebody, like, talking to you while you're trying to drive the car. Like, hey, you have to do this. Hey, remember, you have to do this. Like, all right, shut up. All right, shut the hell. Just stop. You know, like, what will you do in New Mexico? Spaceport America Cup. Linus, we're bringing back the VFTs. Like, a lot of you guys are newer viewers that we picked up through the pandemic. But what I used to do, me and my buddy Das Valdez, who's a Twitch streamer that's now a producer for NASA Spaceflight. That's why we are able to watch the NASA Spaceflight footage every space news stream. What we used to do is go around to museums and stream virtual field trips from museums or events or whatever. I don't know, Mayor. Maybe serious. We probably can't stream that though. We've done a lot of cool stuff, and we're trying to bring it back. We're trying to bring back virtual field trips. So what we're doing is next week, 21st through the 25th, we're going to the Spaceport America Cup. What's the Spaceport America Cup? It's a huge rocket launching competition at the university level down in New Mexico. It's near White Sands, New Mexico. It's actually where Virgin Galactic. It's near where Virgin Galactic launched their spacecraft into space once. It's right near there, and it is a competition with a bunch of schools to see who can launch their rocket the highest or go the fastest or stuff. There's a bunch of different awards. It's actually really cool. This is really high-powered rocketry, guys. This is about... We're not talking Estes rockets here. Let me put it to you like that. This isn't Estes rockets that you go buy at the store. These are rockets that are about as powerful as you can get without being orbital class. This is the highest of the highest tier high-powered rocketry. Like, the step above these rockets is like doing stuff like what Astra and Rocket Lab and like high-powered sounding rockets can do. Like, we're just a shade. These rockets are just a shade below that, which is actually really freaking cool. What is the award for making it to orbit? These are suborbital rockets, Linus. Making it to orbit is extremely difficult. The SLS wet dress rehearsal is still for today. Yes. If we were actually following Half-Life lore, we'd all be enslaved by the Combine and Gordon wouldn't appear for another 2 years. So about that beer I owe you. Chad tier model rocketry. I wouldn't even call it model rockets or not. This is HPR. It's high-powered rocketry. You guys will like this. It's cool. Trust me. Yeah, this is good stuff. So we're gonna cover the... It's time to wake up. We're gonna cover the Spaceport America Cup for NASA Spaceflight, but a lot of it will be streamed. Will be either double streamed or just streamed here. So yeah, it should be good, man. It should be a good time. Wake up! I'm awake. I'm still confused on why Rocket Lab stock has tanked so much, because everyone's stock is tanked, dude. Everybody's stock is in the toilet, and I'm kind of happy because Brimo and I cashed out all of our stocks for that down payment. Looks like we did it at the right time. Jeez. Looks like the Dutch Air Force picked a new cargo transport aircraft to replace the awesome C-130. They're going to buy a few Embraer C-390s, with the first coming in 2026. You don't? They don't? They want Embraer 390s, not a C-130? C-390? What's a C-390? You want this over a C-130? This looks like a fish. That looks pretty cool. Dude. Dude. Come on. EJ, don't hate on it. The UKC 130 also have the fueling probe there. I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I think a C-130 is a way better plane. It's tried and tested on the battlefield. Why would you want... What? Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. This is the Chadliest of the Chad tier plane. What other plane can you shoehorn a howitzer into the side and have it still fly correctly? I mean, fine, enjoy your Embraers or whatever. See the little red button? Push the little red button. And you might want to put on a seatbelt. One word, Den Haag. I don't know what that means. That's 2 words. New Mexico rocket clip. Steinway, you got one for me? Yeah, you guys want to see what Spaceport America Cup is? Check this out. This is the kind of stuff we're going to be covering. Take a look. This is from 2019. Oh, no, we got to get the good stuff. Hold on. Back that clip up. Go, baby, go!
Dang.
Damn!
Yeah, we went right into the sun, chat. Can I do this? Like, I'll block the sun?
That actually
It
works.
makes it be better to see. That'd be amazing if that actually worked.
That's the kind of stuff we're going to be doing. So, high-powered rocketry. It should be pretty cool. Do some go pop? Yes, actually. Yeah, it turns out rocketry is kind of tough. It's Dutch Rule 8. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like... the C-390 looks like a ripped-off version of a Kawasaki C1. I'm just saying, one of these planes you can attach rockets to. The other one you can't. Just saying. Like that's pretty neat. Can you ride that? No. Apparently the reason is that the C-130 is a maintenance burden and the C-390 can carry more. Oh, it's a maintenance burden. Okay. Make sure to stay hydrated out at the event. Don't worry, we're bringing a lot of water. They should put a battleship gun in a C-5. It'll put the AC-130 spooky to shame. I don't know if a C-5 could carry that. Could carry a battleship gun around. Maybe. It might be a little too heavy. Because you got to think of all the ammunition that you're going to carry. It's not just the gun, it's the ammo. And the powder keg. And I don't know about you. I really wouldn't want to ride around in a cargo bay with powder kegs and ammunition all in the same area. That's probably not a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if you could shoehorn a 16-inch gun and all the ammunition in there, you'd have to put a gnarly firewall inside of the cargo bay. And also, if one bullet hits the powder keg from another airplane, that whole plane will pop like a balloon. You hit the magazine, it's enough to split a battleship in half. It'll obliterate that plane like there will be no pieces left. Can you imagine if you ammo rack the freaking plane with battleship powder kegs inside of it? That would be the end of that. There'd be no plane left. They'd be picking up pieces with a sponge. I don't think that's a good idea. Now, here's an idea. How about we take a C5 or a C-17 and we put a GAU-8 on the side? That would work. It would be quite the light show. It would look like a big firework, dude. Yeah. Now, why don't we do that? We take like 3 or 4 GAU-8 Avengers and put those into the side of a C1, not a C-130. Actually, C-130 could probably hold one. 16-inch gun is 121 tons without ammo. A C5M, hang on. Give me a second. Let me see what the payload capacity of the C5 is. A 16-inch gun is 121 tons. Yeah, it could do it. C5's payload capacity is 127,000 kilograms. That's 127 tons. Yeah, it could move it. I don't know about all the ammo. Probably not all the ammo. Each one of the bullets for a 16-inch cal 45 or 16-inch cal 50 is 2,700 pounds. That's 1,300 kilos. So you could carry like 3 or 4 shots, and that's about it. Yeah, putting a GAU 8 on there or a couple of 5-inch Bushmasters would probably be better. Forget the weight. The blowback of a 16-inch gun would throw it into a tailspin. Well, it's very simple, Blue. You do what they did with that. You guys ever see the B-25 Mitchell gunship? They put a cannon in the front of a B-25 for like a close air support variant. Like, look, check this out. It's a B-25G with a freaking cannon in the front instead of a bomb sight. Look at this freaking thing. That's 450 cals just sitting in the nose with a freaking monster cannon. And then they had nacelle pods as well for more 50 cals. The thing had like 6 of them attached to the nose. Check it out. Look at that thing. Just how many guns do you want? Yes. Yes. I think that's a Sherman 76. I could be wrong though. I think it is. I'd have to look. Well, it's a bomber. You just put all the ammo in the bomb bay. It's actually not a bad idea. It's a 75 M5, 75 millimeter. Look at this thing. It's got a rifled cannon in it. And 50 cals. Lots of them. It's an M24 Chaffee 75 millimeter gun. They put a cannon in the damn thing. Like, what did you... Why is there an intake around your can... Oh, no, it's air cooling. Oh, that's really smart. Yeah, you put an air intake around your gun, it's gonna air cool it, but where's that bleed air go? That's what I'm wondering. Because if anything, you're just gonna compress air in here. It's got to go somewhere. But yeah, like, just take a C5 and do this. Do that to the nose. So if you shoot it, it'll just stall the airplane. Or better yet, Newton's third law, why don't you put it out the back? Open up the cargo bay doors and shoot the 16-inch gun out the back. Speed boost, baby. Rocket-assisted takeoff. No. Gun-assisted takeoff. Heck, you don't even need a bullet in there. You could just put the powder keg in and just shoot it. Powder keg with a what's the name of the blank cartridge? The battleship guns have a blank cartridge. I forget what. It's not a cartridge. It's just a blank. I forget what it's called. I think it's a blast cap or something. There's something that they can do. So like with a gun, when you fire it, when you ignite the powder keg inside of the well, it's combustion chamber. That's not what it's called. Inside of the breech, I guess. You have to have something to create that momentary point of compression. That's how you get the velocity. It blows up the gas, and the gas will push the bullet forward, but it has to compress for a moment, like an SRB almost. It's the same idea. I think it's a blast cap. I forget what it's called. And now put a nozzle on the end of the barrel to increase efficiency. Wait, that's a rocket. It's an SRB. Dude, a gun and an SRB are pretty much the same thing. You just take the bullet out of the equation and put a choke on the end of the barrel. That's literally what an SRB is. It's the same thing. With that being said, smokeless white powder does not, believe it or not, it does not have very high specific impulse. It is not very efficient. Yeah. You could use it as a solid rocket propellant. It's just not very efficient. Why is it not very efficient? Because it's designed to make a lot of energy real fast. SRBs are just inherently not efficient, but there's more efficient solid rocket propellants than white powder. But you could use it as a solid propellant if you really wanted to. I mean, that's basically what an Estes rocket motor is. It's just powder, bullet powder. It's like shell casing powder inside of a cardboard tube with a nozzle at the end. It's basically what it is. Well, Dama, I know how a blank works. A blank has the shell, has the front of the cartridge crimped. I know that. But on a battleship, there's no shell casing.
Discovery, go at throttle.
There's no shell casing on it, because the brass shell casing would be insane. It would be like the size of a truck. Let me show you. Yeah, see? That's what they have right there. It's the bullet, and instead of a cartridge, because the cartridge would be freaking huge and ridiculously heavy, they have powder kegs instead. But even if you want to fire a blank shot in the battleship, you still need this part of the bullet. You basically need see, there's a seal right there. You need that, or else you're gonna do bad stuff to the gun. Yeah. Could it be a Sabo? The first time I came across it for parachute deployment devices, but it comes from no, it's not a Sabo round. No. I think they're called charges. Yeah, maybe. I mean, guys, these powder kegs are full of just gunpowder. It is a keg. The reason why it's called a powder keg is because it's shaped like a keg. It looks like a beer keg. That is a powder keg. That is full of explosives. Don't be near that thing when it goes off. That is a lot. There's a lot of potential energy in there. Chemical potential energy, but there's get away from it. Howitzers do this too. You can easily change the range. Yeah, that's actually an interesting point, Black Horse. That is one of the pluses of doing something like this. You can change the muzzle velocity on the gun to get the shell to do different things. Like, they say, oh, the battleship has a range of 14 miles. It can shoot over the horizon, right? Or something like that. But sometimes if you're like broadsiding a ship or something, or if you're shelling the coast and it's closer than 14 miles, you can take powder kegs out. You can take powder kegs out so the bullet doesn't fly as far. It's actually pretty cool. You're changing the combustion chamber pressure there to get your bullet to do something different. It'll fly in a different ballistic trajectory, which is pretty neat. That's pretty cool. That is also the reason why you don't want to put too much in there. Because if you put too much in there, bad stuff happens. Yeah, they tried that once, and it didn't really end well. Killed a lot of people. Yeah, they tried to go beyond, I forget what the PSI was. They tried to go beyond the maximum rated combustion chamber pressure. And yeah, it didn't end well. Killed a lot of people. Yeah, what they were trying to do is some dingbat thought oh, let's put more powder kegs behind the bullet. It'll be fine. Or no, it wasn't more powder kegs. He was trying to use more reactive propellants. He was trying to they were like think the logs in Back to the Future 3, that but with powder kegs. Yeah, they were trying to get a hotter burn behind the shell, and the gun backfired. The breech blew off. Yeah, not good. It killed a lot of people. Yeah. Was that when they were trying to use the undersized shells? They were trying to... So, guys, you know how I always say there's the Dunning-Kruger curve? Peak of Mount Stupid? That's peak of Mount Stupid. That's trying to think you know better than the people that engineered the damn gun. Yeah, no, you don't know better. Yeah, it didn't end well. So how do they get ignited? Basically a little firecracker. That's it. Actually, I don't know if it's a little firecracker for these. It's a firecracker for. It's like a little firecracker for a solid rocket booster. I'm not sure. You know what? I don't know. I would assume it's something similar to a solid rocket booster, but it might be different. It's probably different, actually. These would probably... well, they don't use a primer cap, that's for sure. So the gun that it's firing is a 16-inch Cal 50. So 16-inch Cal 50, for the people that don't know, is the length, is the diameter and the width, or the diameter and the length of the barrel. So 16-inch, 406 mil, Cal 50. So 406 times 50. So that's the barrel length. Oop, that's the calendar. So 406 millimeter times 50. Yeah, the barrel is 20,000 millimeters, 20,300 millimeters long. Or, well, about 20.3 meters. It's a big freaking barrel. 16-inch gun. So, like I said, 406 mil. It's a monster. Those shells weigh like 1,300 kilos. Like, whatever that hits, dude, it doesn't even need to explode. Whatever it hits is going to kill it. There will be nothing left if it hits you. So, what does it say here? So it's a breech-fed weapon, just like most guns. Guys, this is like a pistol. It's a big version of that. It's a gun. It is a gun. It's not like a missile or self-propelled or self-guided ammunition. It's a gun. Like you have to put a bullet in here, and then you put the powder kegs behind it. See last. Okay. TGV versus tramway. I don't know what this is. What does this have to do with... Oh, cool. Neat. Old TGV. That's cool. Did the Soviets not put them on land? They didn't use 16-inch Cal 50s. They used another gun. But I'm not sure how this thing fires, believe it or not. Yeah, exactly. This is called, so this is a turret, and that's the barbette right there. That's what it's called. This thing is literally held in there by gravity. Gravity is the only thing that holds it in, because let me just put it to you like this. If the turret slips out on its own, you have worse problems to worry about. Yeah. You have worse problems to worry about. So yeah, and those ball bearings, those things are like about this big. They're about the size of a softball. Yep. And then, how the whole thing turns is they have an electric motor, and there's a teeth inversed gear around the inside of this, and they just turn the electric motor, and that turns the turret. Video describing the gun loading. All right, let me see.
Iowa-class battleship armor.
Military History in a Minute is the name of the channel. Always show the YouTube
compact
channel.
Car up to 34 kilometers away. Having a rate of fire up to 2 rounds per minute, it was a complex system of 76 sailors working in synchronized movement to fire these massive guns.
Yep.
First, in each powder magazine, 6 powder bags were assembled for just one gun. Weighing 50 kilograms each, these were passed from the magazine to the powder elevator. The risk of fire required compartments, as a magazine explosion could destroy the ship.
Yeah, they put the gun magazine, so literally like the magazine on a regular firearm. They put the magazines below the waterline for a very good reason, and that's why torpedoes were invented.
Next, there are 2 independent floors with rings containing high explosive and armor-piercing shells. Based on the target, sailors would move these massive shells with parbuckles to the appropriate gun elevator. At the turret level, the loaders would put the shell into the loading tray, where the rammer would push the heavy shell into the breech. Next, the powder elevator would open to load the powder bags, and these in turn would be rammed into the breech. Once complete, a switch would tell the turret captain that the 3 guns are loaded and ready to fire. At the rear of the turret, an optical rangefinder would have the target acquired with a firing solution to elevate the guns for the right angle, lead, and range to target.
So, the interesting thing about this, dude, is that, see these? Those are the gun sights. Like, if you're looking down a gun, that's the gun sight right there. They're on each side. But the firing solution would be provided by a fire control system, the FCS, which is, it's actually sitting up here. The firing solution would be done up there. So they would find the targets, and then they would sight, the fire control system would figure out where the target is, figure out how far away it is, and figure out basically where they need to point the guns, and that info would be relayed to the gun captain. And then he'd sight the guns in. They'd basically say, hey, point over here, look that direction, the target is that far away, and then he would sight the guns in. It's really cool because the fire control system needed to come up with basically a trigonometric solution. Why is it trigonometric? Well, because you're launching a bullet on a ballistic arc at a target that's like 15 miles away. Now we're in a suborbital apogee here, so think like Falcon 9 coming and landing on the drone ship, but you don't have any grid fins, and you don't have any grid fins, and there's no rocket to obviously land it because you don't want it to land. You want it to hit the ground going very fast. Kinetic energy experiment. So the information from the fire control system is relayed from the CIC, from a combat information center. And on the Iowa-class battleships, they had computers in there. Yes, they had computers in it in 1944. They were mechanical. They literally look like something from Fallout. It is a box with a bunch of levers and knobs on it. And you would use that to it would basically be doing basic trig. It would be doing basic trigonometry to figure out where and how you needed to point those guns. And that information would be relayed to the gun captain, and he would sight it in. I don't know if this guy talks about it, though. Nice.
This was only one turret of 3, so the combined firepower would be devastating. Now over 75 years old, these battleship guns have left their mark on history.
Actually, if you notice, the gun spits out a bunch of fog after it fires. They basically gas purge out. They gas purge out the barrel, similar to like purging out a rocket engine, and it blows out the residual any residual crap that's sitting in there. It basically cleans the barrel out. If you watch footage of Iowa class guns firing, they fire and an insane explosion comes out, right? And then a big puff of smoke comes out the gun. They purge out the combustion chamber. That's not what it's called, but also has to compensate for the distance that the turrets are separated apart from each other. Each turret has to be angled slightly in order to hit the same target. Yep. Do tanks have a control system in this? Yeah, the tank is a much more consolidated system, but yeah, because it's a much smaller gun. But yeah, yep. Yeah, dude. You know what's crazy? They figured out during World War II that a torpedo blowing up underneath the ship is way more devastating than a torpedo that actually hits the ship. You guys should see what modern torpedoes can do. It's gruesome. So they basically blow up a torpedo underneath a ship, and the torpedo explosion doesn't actually damage the ship. It cavitates the water. Okay? So do ships fly very well? I'm serious. If we took a destroyer and we tried to make it fly, do you think it would fly very well? No, it does not fly very well. It does not have wings because it's a ship. So what the torpedo does is it goes underneath the ship and it just blows up, and it creates a huge air pocket underneath the ship and literally breaks the ship in half. The ship sinks instantly. Like, a ship will go down in 5 minutes because it'll basically suplex the ship. It's messed up. It's really, really fricked up. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. You don't even have lifeboats? No, you're dead. No. Can we try to make a ship fly? I mean, didn't they do that in a movie or something? Yeah, I'm looking at this. I don't think those fans are enough to move that thing. I don't think I mean, it is a ducted fan, but Dude, you know how fast these things would need to spin? You would need an electric motor that is quite literally the size of a house. And that electric motor would need to be able to spin as fast as like a Plaid engine, a Model S Plaid. It would need to, yeah, there's no way. There's no, dude, you wouldn't have this on a drive shaft. There's too much parasitic loss. The amount of energy you would need to generate, you'd need something like an arc reactor for the MCU people. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, maybe nuclear power would do it, but see, there's this thing. If you're using nuclear power, if we want to get realistic for a second, there's this thing about using nuclear power in ships. Using nuclear power in ships is pretty damn safe. The reason why it's pretty damn safe is because you don't need to worry about the thing melting down most of the time, because there's this thing that you're floating in that's really cold that you can use to keep it cool. In the air, that doesn't happen so much. Yeah. So this thing, like, if we were going to entertain the idea of this thing actually working, the nukes could work, and the nukes could give you enough power to spin these things. You probably could. You probably could do it. But couple of things. You'd need to keep that nuke cool. So this thing would you're not going to air cool a nuclear reactor. That's a bad idea. You would need a coolant loop, and the coolant loop would need to have condensers the likes of which you'd never seen. This thing would literally need a cooling tower on it. It would need something the size of a nuclear cooling tower, which is literally almost as big as the stupid ship. And second part of that is, well, if you remember the movie, all you'd have to do is just put a missile right here, and that's the end of that. Then the whole carrier goes down. The other fans can't compensate. That's not how that works. Fusion, even with fusion, dude, fusion can theoretically work. You're using if you use a magnetic field to keep it cool, to basically keep the heat inside of the reactor, that's fine. But once again, fusion doesn't really exist in a sustainable manner right now. Two, even if you could, you'd have to be a lot of the electricity would have to be generated to keep the magnetic field going. And if you don't keep the magnetic field going, the ship will melt itself from the inside out. It'll melt down. If the reaction stays stable somehow. The fusion is complicated, man. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to keep it self-sustaining. I did the math when that came out. You need like 20 to 30 Saturn V first stages worth just to make that thing hover. Like I said, Blue, you could do it with 4 fans like that. Those fans would need to be spinning like faster than an F1 engine. And I don't know about you. You know how hard it is to get a fan to spin that fast? Like, Kraken strikes would happen. I mean, look at a drone. If you want to look at like a DJI drone or something, you look at how big the propellers are comparatively to the drone. And then, even then, look at how light the drone chassis actually is. That would be this. I mean, like I said, that could be done. You could do it. There's nothing in practical physics that says this couldn't be done. I'd be worried about power. Keeping the power on to get all these things working. That would be difficult. Other questions. We're landing planes on a carrier at 10,000 feet. Yeah. At 10. Yeah. You know what? That's another thing. You know what, King? That's a good point. You would need everyone on the flight deck would need scuba gear. Would need an oxygen mask if you go above 10,000 feet, and then it would need to be a pressurized cabin if you're going above 10,000 feet, like an airplane. You would need either an oxygen mask or the deck the inside pieces of the carrier. So like the hangar deck and stuff, it would need to be pressurized like an airplane. Which means, like, once again, that's possible. These things could have bleed air. You could do that, like a Harrier, or like a regular airliner. You could have bleed air to keep the pressure inside of the carrier higher. That's doable. In the movie, they put on oxygen masks before liftoff. Yeah, exactly, Jack. You'd need oxygen masks above 10,000 feet, or else you'll die. Our lungs can work with a nitrogen-oxygen mixture down to like 5 psi. You go below that, you're going to have problems. Like, death. And I got this thing about death. It's not me. Fusion is not that much heat, actually. It is insanely hot, don't get me wrong. But because the fusion mass is only a few grams at a time, a few grams at 1,000,000 degrees is not that much heat to deal with at all. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Steiner, but you still need the magnetic field to contain it, right? Or else you've made a really nice fusion bomb. People climb Everest. 10,000 isn't too bad. I mean, yeah. If I was going to climb Everest, I would take oxygen with me. Actually, nitrox. Okay, anyway, let's go. Minecraft time. Cool conversations, though, guys. It's. I mean, like I said, anything as long as it exists within the practical application of physics can work. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't hover an aircraft carrier like that. It would just be really, really freaking difficult. And you would need billions of dollars to try and do it, but it's doable. If it's anything that SpaceX has taught me is that, you know, I'm not going to say throwing money at the problem fixes things because, yeah. But SpaceX has shown that if you really, you really know what you really want to get something done and you really know what you're doing, if you put enough money into it, it'll work. I mean, look at Starship. Starship, even 5 years ago, this is insane. Even if you told me 5 years ago that Starship is going to do that and then get caught by a tower, I'd be like, sure. Floating. Oh, dirigible. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, there's a reason why they stopped using those dirigibles, because one bullet will make it explode in the right spot. Yeah, it's kind of useless. This is my Twitch bug. Stream title is still Quick Break before Friday Night Racing, and game is showing Assetto Corsa, and yes, I've refreshed. Let me check it. EJ Space and Airplane Review, category Science and Technology. I'll update the title again. I'll see if it works. Motorman, sometimes, dude, sometimes I look at the numbers, and the numbers are just all over the place. Sometimes, like with views, after I look at a stream, just on a quick side note, and I'm almost wondering if, like, I'm setting the directory correctly, but Twitch isn't recognizing that I'm setting the directory correctly, and, like, when we do space news, it has me categorized in, like, Minecraft or something. Sometimes I wonder about that. But that might not be Twitch. It could be. It's most likely client-side cache if I'm thinking about how web stuff work. I see the stream title you have set. Yep. Yeah, I know. Floating planes were supposed to dock to its underside as pictured, but it's not super safe. So, warfare produces some pretty crazy ideas, doesn't it, Floating? The Cold War being probably one of the nuttiest. Mustard has a video about this, but in case you haven't seen it, this was one of the ideas proposed during the Cold War. War still sucks. Well, yeah, no, I never said that it was good. Batman. I mean, pretty sure current events have shown why warfare is terrible. Now, deterrence, though, that's something I very much believe in. Yeah, deterrence is a good idea. If we want to, I personally, and people will disagree with this, that's fine. If we want to put money into making stuff that prevents the other guy from doing something dumb, and he's going to do the same thing as us, I have no problem with that. Like, that's why the Cold War is not really a war, but it's what's called a soft war. It's so like an ideological war where you don't actually fight. Yeah, I'm okay with that. We can do that. That's fine. As long as we, don't go and actually do it, I don't have a problem with that. That's why I question if humans are intelligent. I don't think it's the question whether we're intelligent or not, Batman. I think we're... I mean, we're humans, man. We're not perfect. That's really what it is. We're not perfect, dude. Like, it's the human condition in a nutshell. We ain't perfect. The reason why I think we ain't perfect is because, you know, think about the circumstances in which we evolved in. We evolved over millions of years to be the apex predator on this planet. That's not an easy thing to do, and that was not met without a lot of strife. Like, so that's what I mean when I say, like, our brains constantly focus on bad. You ever be working at your job, right? And, you know, your boss says something that doesn't sit right with you, and that just stays in your mind like a worm, like a freaking mind worm. And despite all the good stuff that you do, right, your brain's focusing on that one bad comment. Oh yeah, dude, that's it. That's the human condition. We ain't perfect. That's a really important thing to understand. People aren't perfect. No matter how hard you're going to try, you can't beat the human condition. You can't beat biology. That's not going to happen. Like I said, we didn't get to be the apex predator on this planet by, you know, not like looking over our shoulder constantly. That's what your brain is designed to do. I agree. I just hate that we kill each other. I mean, Batman, I understand what you're saying, dude. I get you. I don't like war either. That's why I think, like, if we want to just say that we're good at doing war and then just never do it, I'm kind of cool with that. That's a pretty good compromise, right? I think that's okay. Like, you know, we could just make, like, nukes and stuff, and just no one's going to do nothing without any nukes. But then again, people will find a way because humans do human things, right? But, you know, yeah, I mean, saying that, you know, I just hate that we kill each other, you know, it's part of humans, man. And I'm not saying it's right. I ain't saying it's right. I'm saying it's something that we got to acknowledge and something that you got to move around. Because, like, what you're saying is like, oh, you know, I hate that I have my hand. I hate that I have a pinky finger. Screw you, pinky finger. The solution isn't to cut it off. The solution is to understand and work with it, right? Like, that's not the solution here. Don't be like, nah, I hate you. You know, like, that doesn't work. That's not going to get you anywhere. You got to acknowledge it, you got to understand it, and you got to work around it. Just like engineering around a problem. Like engineering a thermal protection system for a vehicle. You're not going to have one material that's going to be able to brute force through reentry. You have to find ways around it, like supersonic retropropulsion, right? Or like an ablative heat shield, or thermal tile, or something. There's ways around it. You know, you got to acknowledge that this exists, and then find a way around it, right? That's how I look at things. It's just like engineering, man. Cut it off, you won't. Ah! All boils down to some biology to drive for food. Yeah, exactly, Havocs. And that, like I said, understanding the human condition is important. Tom Clancy wrote a series where countries competed in the Olympics using the same equipment but rigged up as a game of laser tag. It was so popular and profitable that real war was obsolete. You know, playing war games like that in a competition, Maslam, probably would be a good idea. Why do you think people like football and rugby and hockey and stuff? Because that quenches... The fantasies will never be quenched. That quenches the human condition. Competition. Fighting. Like, what? Why? Dude, look at how popular, like, UFC and boxing is. Okay, what's the point is? You literally go and beat the trash out of the other guy. That's fun? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, it's fun. It's fun to a lot of people. I'm not a big UFC guy, but I'm not hating by any means. I definitely understand the drive there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's part of being human, man. Yeah, UFC is brutal. You get. Yeah, these guys are like, it's not bare knuckle, right? But like, it's not boxing gloves either. You want, dude, it hurts it hurts getting hit in the face. That hurts. You get your bell rung. You're like, what the hell is? Where am I? And don't get me wrong. I played American football. Dude, I had a couple of concussions. Like, it's not fun. There's a reason why so many sports originate from military traditions and stuff. Yeah, even in the Olympic sports like javelin, shot put. Javelin is something that dates back to the classics. It dates back to the Greeks with the original Olympic Games, right? Marathons are marathons originate from troop movements, if I'm remembering right. That's why a marathon is a really arbitrary distance of 27 miles, because that's the distance between, I think that's the distance between like Sparta and Thermopylae or something. I don't know that too much, but I know that the javelin as an Olympic game stems from a military tradition that was during the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta. Yeah, that's when Athens and Sparta decided to fight each other. And then, yeah, that's where they figured out, like, I could throw this at somebody and it would really hurt them. And then it became a sport from there. Not quite. It isn't an arbitrary distance. Yeah, I said it's an arbitrary distance, Ren, because I don't remember what it was. It's arbitrary to me, but not to the games, right? Like, dude ran after a battle to tell them they won. What did he run from, Ren? My classics are rusty, and I like classics too. Marathon references the messenger running back with the news of victory. Yeah. Equestrian is all military. That's true. Athens to Marathon. Yeah, there you go. That's the distance, yeah. In that distance, 27 miles, it seems very, very random, right? It's not random. It's based off military tradition. He ran to the city of Marathon. That's cool. I like classics, man. Classics are so cool. You can learn a lot from the ancient Greeks about. That's why I like that. I like classics a lot, because you can learn a lot about the human condition. The Greeks were very introspective in that regard. They were very cognizant that we weren't perfect, and they tried to figure out ways to kind of understand that, which I think is really cool. That's really smart. It's a really smart way of thinking. He also died of exhaustion after. I mean, yeah, running 27 miles like that, that ain't easy. SARah-1 deployment is confirmed. All right, cool. On that note, how about we jump into some Minecraft? Let's do some city building, guys. Let's see what we need to build for the city today. I think we're going to focus on building roads. Roads. Don't get me wrong, I play World of Tanks, which is a war game, and I like the competition, but why do we have to make war sexy? Yeah. Gotta be stronger than the other guy, man. Batman, yeah, it's part of the human condition, man. Even if you don't understand it, dude, you do. So, like, that... Okay, I'll get into neuroscience a little bit here. And please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a neuroscientist, for Christ's sake. I'm not even a rocket scientist. Like, I like understanding things. So, your brain, the reason why we're imperfect is because your brain there's two parts of your brain that are kind of at odds with each other. There's the cortex, this part up here, which makes us human. Like, this part up here is the capability to think, critical thinking, stuff like that. That's your cortex up here. That's the top. That's the wrinkly part of the brain, right? But your brain has, like, if I'm remembering right, there's like 3 parts to it. That's the very top part. That's us. This part is what makes us human. This part up here. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other animals with brains. But their brains they're smooth-brained animals. No, their brains aren't as developed as ours are. And then that gets you to the other parts of the brain. There's the limbic part of your brain, which is like that. The limbic part is like down here somewhere. It's underneath the smooth brain, or not the smooth brain part, the wrinkly brain part. And then there's like the brain stem down here. That most mammals have that brain stem and the limbic part. The limbic part is how you feel emotions. So, like, if you have a pet, if you have a dog, your dog can, understand basic emotional concepts, right? Your dog will know when you're having a bad day, right? It'll have that keen awareness because we're both mammals, right? But the dog doesn't have the top part here. It doesn't have the part up here, right? So when you say, like, oh man, why do we make war? That makes no sense. Well, that's the limbic part of your brain fighting with the cortex part of your brain. That's a complicated thing going on there that I don't know enough about to be honest with you. I'm not even sure that I got that first part right. But there are parts of your brain that are kind of at odds with each other because we're not perfect. It's not a perfect system. Like, think about all the things that we could patch with this thing if we knew how to use these, if we understood these meat suits better. There's a bunch of things that we could change, like, oh man, I don't really like it when I get a stomach ache. That's really annoying. You know, or allergies or something. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could be patched that would be very nice, but yeah, this is a complicated system. This thing makes a rocket look like a freaking crayon drawing, man. I think we learned that in biology as well. As a nurse, we just have to solve. I just hate we have to solve problems like that. That's the human condition, man. We got to find a way to be masters of our own destiny. That's something that I really, really believe in. And that's why I think we need to go to space, because part of everybody spews this. Everybody says this, and I'm not trying to just drink the Kool-Aid and say what everybody else says, but we're intrinsically explorers. We have to go figure stuff out. That's part of being human. Part of solving problems. Now, don't get me wrong. Solving problems makes more problems. And I'm not saying that going out into space is our end-all, be-all problem. We'll go out into space, and then we'll make more problems for ourselves because we're humans. That's what we do. We're not perfect, right? It's important to understand that. But, yeah, it sucks that we have to go and fight each other, but, you know, like, if we're going to do it, I'd prefer the deterrent way of doing it, like how we did it during the Cold War, where we basically invent a weapon that could kill ourselves like 20 times over and then just keep that pointed at each other. It's literally a standoff. I think that's the best way to do it. And don't get me wrong, that road is paved in blood, but any road is paved in blood because we're not perfect. But don't worry, man. Like I said, you know, yesterday's problems are not today's problems. Today's problems will not be tomorrow's problems. But we're always going to have problems. That's just something that we kind of got to own up to, you know what I mean? Nice that you would take the topic. Well, Batman, I find that understanding and acknowledging the fact that we're imperfect, for instance, like I had a bad day yesterday. I had a very bad day. Like at the end of the stream, I was like, I hate everything. I want to go to sleep. I really don't like it because I focused on the bad, right? You know, I find that, you know, if you're younger or, you know, it's hard to understand that that's what's going on. It's hard for people to come to that conclusion, like, oh, I'm not perfect. Like, and I'm not saying that people are like entitled or anything, right? Like, it's just you don't think about this stuff. Like, you don't think about this stuff in your day to day. But if you have, the reason why I'll never fail to talk about like mental health or something is because it's important to bring up. You gotta be a master of this system, and that's hard to do. It's hard to be in control of this. This is a very powerful piece of equipment, and sometimes it does whatever the frick it wants to, and you have no control over it. Like, it's really annoying. I really wish it didn't do that, but it does. The medulla oblongata is where anger, jealousy, and aggression come from. How can anyone tell me where happiness comes from? Freaking human brain, man. And that's why, Rosenberg, you're right. The constant need for growth helps kind of keep that stuff at bay. Figuring out problems and figuring out ways to solve problems, right, keeps this in check. Because if you just kind of get complacent, your brain's going to go bananas and be like, what are you doing? You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You suck. What are you doing? You're not doing. What are you doing? We're gonna die. We're gonna die if you don't eat something right now. You gotta eat something right now. What do you do? You need water. You need to drink something right now, or else you're gonna die. Go. It's really annoying. When you buy the dip, but it keeps going, wrecked. Happiness comes from magic rays of sunshine that come down when you're feeling blue. Mama said that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush. No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. Mama's right. Mama's right. Something wrong with his medulla oblongata. Don't mess with me with the movie quotes, man. I got that game on lockdown. Anyway, Minecraft. Let's do it. Let's play Minecraft for a couple hours.